Hey guys, Uriah here. I'm going to do a quick video to show you how to put together a Sith Holocron kit with Propfunk. First thing you want to do is make sure you got all your supplies. You want to probably wear gloves. You might need a couple paper towels, and you're going to need glue. I really don't recommend CA or super glue as it's more commonly known. You're going to want to get some acrylic cement. You can get the Weldon Grip 16 or Craftix. I don't remember which number they use, but it's the kind of medium thickness. It's not water thin, so it's not going to just run all over the place on you. It's kind of important because we're going to be doing a bead of the cement. So take your inner panels. You want to remove that backing that it comes with. And we're gonna run a bead of cement along the inside edge here. If you're not beveling these edges, you wanna do it along the inside here. And I went ahead and did a couple of them ahead of time here, just so the video is not so redundant. Make sure you're not doing this on the kitchen counter. Do it on a work surface that you're comfortable getting a little bit of glue on, or put down some covering or something like that. So as you can see here, now this isn't all the way cured because I just did this recently, but there's going to be a little bit of gap there, but you're gluing the two edges. Okay. Now, let me do one here. So once you do both these halves and let that glue set up, you just cement both halves together, and then you can put your outer panels on pretty easily. I don't think that part requires much explanation. So again, you can take the inside edge here, and make sure you're thinking about which side you're joining up. So I'm going to do it on this side for the left. Sorry, I'm a little shaky. It's cold in the garage. And you're just going to run a bead right along that edge. One thing you want to be careful with is not to really squeeze these tubes. A little bit to get it going, but really it'll come out on its own, so you don't want it glopping all over the place on you. Just let gravity do most of the work. And sometimes it really likes to run on you, so be careful. They do make application tips for these. So that you're getting an even thinner bead of cement coming out. I don't use them. They're nice though. Okay, so you've got your cement on both sides. Okay, now, and I do recommend using a square if you can. If not, the template, and it's going to be a little tougher with just using the paper template, but it's to help you get that 90-degree angle either way. Okay, so I'm gonna move my supports back. I use spray paint cans to keep things in place while it's setting up. And I'll just bring them here, and bottom points meet at the edge of that 90 degrees. And then just bring your edges in, just gonna line them up there, and you're gonna hold it for a minute or two. And the more you do this, the easier it is to know when it's okay to let go of it and all that, but you should be safe at 1.5 minutes to place your supports. Takes about 10 minutes for the glue to set, and I think like 8 to 10 hours for full strength. Okay. So, I'm pretty confident with my bond there. I've done this a few times, so I'm just gonna set my supports there. Bring that in, make sure it's all flush with my template. And you can see how the square makes it a lot easier. It holds it on this edge, and then you've got weights here. I think it's just a good idea to have a carpenter square in your shop anyways. So you let that sit for a couple minutes. You can do it a little sooner if you want to let that hinge move a little easier on you. The risk with that is that your bond can come apart, and it is a lot stronger bond if you can bevel that inner edge, at like a 45-degree angle in there. Then you have a more surface area to glue as well. But if you don't have a belt sander or the means to do that, don't worry about it, because this is how I started building them. Alright, I'm going to let that set, and then we'll come back and I'll glue the two halves together. Okay guys, so I've been letting it sit for a couple minutes. It's probably not super strong yet, but I've done this a few times. You might want to let it sit a little longer. Like I said, sometimes it's kind of beneficial to have it give that little give so you can marry the two halves together a little better. But if you've made it to this point, all the hard stuff is done really. Although it can be a little frustrating if you pick these pieces up too soon and they come apart. So, if you're at all leery about that, give it some time. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that I use a toothpick every once in a while to clear out the opening in my tube there. Okay, so shaky, sorry guys. So that one's still a little pliable and moving around, so I'll just let that one sit there. This one's been sitting a little longer, so it's it's pretty strong. Don't go trying to bend it, or you could break that bond there. Like I said, if you can bevel it, it's a lot stronger bond. And just like you did before, you run in a bead of cement. And again, it's a lot easier if you bevel these edges, because you're not trying to get on that hairline edge. You've got a little more surface area to play with. Hopefully you can see everything here. I don't want to have to do this video again. So, just get that glue going. Now, don't freak out if you get a little smudge here or there. If you're going for a perfect holocron, the outer panels are going to cover up a lot of stuff on the edges at least. The other thing you can do is if you do kind of goof it up a little, you can weather it and paint it, apply a little bit of black acrylic here and there with a sponge just lightly, make it look dirty and old. Okay. You could probably get away with just having the one bead of cement, but I like redundancy. Making sure that, all your surfaces have a little bit of something. Oh, so shaky, sorry guys. Okay. And then of course, glue jammed up on me, so set that down. So, of course, if it's a little warmer in the garage, this might be flowing a little easier. Okay. Pick this up again. There it is. Just run that bead just down the edge. A little more to the inside. That way you're not pulling it down the outside of your panel. That should be good. Just set your glue aside. Okay. And then I'm just gonna push them together here. And like I said, if you're confident enough to do it while it's still pliable, you'll get better results. But I will show you what you want to do if you get any gaps. So that's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that, actually. And be careful how hard you press it in what direction, or else it'll slip off of each other. Because you're just working with those, just those edges. So just like you did before when you were setting up the panels, you want to hold it for a minute. But this one's not nearly as finicky once you actually get it together. Okay. Set it back in here. Now it might not set up perfectly square, but that's okay because the base panel is a little bit smaller than the entire pyramid here, so that even if you don't get it perfectly square, it'll still fit in there without too much issue. Okay. So, it might help, while you're letting it set up, set your weights in there, and if you've got a square, everything gets held together nice. Not too worried about it right now. So I'm pretty happy with that. So then once you've got that done, pretty simple step is you're just going to apply some glue here. Now be very careful up in here. You might just want to try and do dots, even apply it with a toothpick so that you don't have it running out here. That can be kind of tricky. But if you've got one of those little applicator tips, that helps too. So you just want a little bit. Don't worry about the inside too much. You can put a couple little dots in there to hold it down. And then you just press, apply, hold it for, a minute. It's not nearly as crucial to get that one, held in place, because once it sticks, it'll be good after a minute or so. Another thing you can do on your kits, I'm pretty sure I might have mentioned this in the printed instructions, is you could do it at this point. I would suggest doing it before you glue everything together. Is get some rub and buff. It's a metallic wax, basically. You can get it at most art stores like Hobby Lobby or Michael's. And it's a wax paste, and you just a little bit and just rub it in there. The thing about that is you're going to need some acrylic cleaner, like a Novus number 2 or something like that, to help get the excess off your surface. But the cool thing about that is you'll get a really neat gold inlay, because the wax will stick to the etching, and then once you polish off the excess, you'll just be left with the gold in the etching, and shouldn't have it all over the place. But again, you need a decent acrylic cleaner to do that properly. Speaking of which, to clean your holocrons, normal cleaning, just use warm water, mild soap. Don't ever use Windex or anything like that, because you can haze the acrylic. Also, try not to use any kind of rough cloth. If you have a microfiber, that's the best option when you're cleaning it. But if you want to go all out, you can get specialty acrylic cleaners from a company called Novus. I'm sure there's a few others out there too if you look up acrylic cleaner. Novus sells it in a couple stages. You've got 1 for the cleaner and polish, 2 is to take out scratches, and 3 takes out heavy scratches, but you need a buffing wheel really to do that properly. Hopefully you won't get a bunch of scratches on your holocron anyways. So that's actually probably pretty decent after just sitting there for a minute. Now what you can do with your base, there's still the backing on here. It should fit in there pretty nicely. You can get some little silicone feet, helps it sit nice. You could get some magnets and do a magnet attachment or a hinge or something if you wanted to. I use them as just displays, so I just let the base sit in there loose. But you can modify it to your liking. So hopefully that helps you guys figure out how to put your holocrons together. And this will apply to the Revan kits and the Nihilus kits and the other Sith Lord kits that I'm going to be coming out with here in a week or two. Hopefully just a week. So thanks for watching, guys.